All right, it looks like we're in, so we're gonna switch on over. Ooh, my head's a little big today. I might want to. I might want to move that down. Ooh, there we go. That's much better. All right, so what do we have? Follower's side, we have Totem, Ranger, and the Engineer. On Elemento's side, we have Berserker, Totem, and the Ranger. So slight differences in loadouts right here, and also starting formations. We have Follower going for a full row formation, and while Elemento is looking for a kind of hybrid type approach with their characters. Both players have blocked off that center tile, which is super important on these kind of wide open style layouts. It prevents, excuse me, I kept on trying to say character 6. It prevents Totem from putting their totem in the absolute center of the battlefield, which really helps out in terms of who they can target with pressure release, and also who they can affect with their system overload. We're seeing some early traps from both of these players here. Follower placing down that totem, while Elemento is kind of forgoes that right now. We'll see if Elemento puts down the totem. Yes, they do. All right, we have a like quasi-symmetrical layout right here. Let's see who they start to target here. All right, they've got their shock module set up and ready to go. It's starting to whittle down that Ranger for now. It looks like Follower is going to focus up with Totem. So at some point during this fight, unless Elemento can finish off their Totem relatively soon, it looks like we're going to be seeing a system overload at some point. Also focusing up on the Chemist right now. So we're looking at some serious damage output at some point. All characters are at very full health as of right now. So we might be seeing some cool focus abilities being used during this fight. Elemento has a lot of choices right now in terms of who they can start trying to focus down. They started off with the Ranger early on. However, it looks like they're going to go for the Chemist, taking a decent chunk of damage there from trade blows. But that Berserker can definitely take it as of right now. Setting up for some tunnel vision action right here. They can activate it with Totem. They can activate it with their Ranger pretty soon. It looks like they're going to be able to finish off that Chemist pretty quickly with a support. And here comes the Berserker. All right, and the Engineer is out of action, so that Engineer will not be able to use, the Chemist. That Chemist will not be able to use that focus, which is a pretty big blow for Follower right now. However, that Berserker is, it's at nearly half health at this point, so that's a good starting point. Both Character 6 and the Ranger, neither of them have particularly high defensive capabilities as of right now, since Elemento's Ranger is using that support stance. Follower decides to start trying to focus down that Berserker. Let's see who Elemento decides to target next. Both options are pretty good. As of right now, Follower is kind of in a tough place as of right now, because in order to get off a really effective system overload, they're going to have to reposition that Totem. So that's going to take one round to do that, and then only after that, they are going to be able to use that ability. However, it looks like Elemento only has a couple of character rounds before, Follower's Totem will be able to take 2 turns. So, it looks like we might be seeing a pretty effective system overload. However, follower is using that support stance on the Ranger, so we might just see them try to whittle down that Berserker. We are going to see that totem being placed in a different area, right in the center there, so they can target all 3 of Elemento's Steamhounds as of right now. And I say as of right now as if they can destroy that totem. It cannot be destroyed. So definitely if Follower's totem survives, they will be able to use that system over. Elemento going in and trying to move Follower's totem back in the turn order, successfully does so, so Elemento's Berserker will be able to take a turn here before Follower's totem can get off that system overload. So just trying to eke out a little bit of damage, since it looks like that Berserker is going to take a critical hit pretty soon. All right, the Berserker just barely surviving with 1 health. It looks like it's going to be able to get off 1 ability right here. So it's not going to be a trade blows, because that'll be that wouldn't be too good at this point, despite it being the highest damage output. So they're just going to go for a regular old bash. Still pretty effective due to the fact that Elemento's Ranger is supporting that Berserker. That was super critical. So it gets off a decent chunk of damage. Taking down Follower's totem to, just a little bit lower than it was before. Definitely softens it up for some blows from that Ranger in the coming rounds. System overload does go off, pushing the opponent's characters back in the turn order. It is not quite enough in order to make a difference in terms of this specific circumstance. However, it does take out the Berserker and also allows Follower to keep on trying to catch up with that damage output. Both teams have some evenly health totals on both of their characters, so it's not a clear shot as to who is going to be targeted first here on either side. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like Elemento is gonna go for a finishing blow with a big system overload. It's not gonna quite be enough, and it's also gonna take in terms of like if they don't do any damage as of right now. So they are gonna start targeting different characters. It looks like Elemento is trying to go for a big finish here with a system overload. That's going to take a couple of rounds though, because they are going to have to focus up before they can get that off. But it looks like it will be pretty effective here, all things considered. They are gonna have to get in some chick damage against Follower's Ranger though. Not as easy as it once was with all 3 of Elemento's characters up. They were able to chain some attacks, so Follower's Ranger's evasive stance, they were able to get around that dodge percent and keep on trying. Have a lot of different opportunities to attack, but right here, those attacks are more few and far between, so it becomes more and more difficult to target that character. So we are going to see another totem placement from Follower, trying to slow down Elemento's characters here. Successfully pushes back that Ranger a little bit, which is going to be pretty good right now since that Ranger does not have an evasive stance. However, they were able to, with that support damage, take out Follower's totem. So it's looking a little rough for Follower as of right now. It looks like we're probably not going to see a system overload from Elemento at this point. It only does so much damage when it's only going to attack 1 character. But we'll see what happens here. Whittling away at Elemento's Ranger due to them not having their evasive stance up. We see a dodge from Follower, absolutely key right now. That helps them out a lot. So let's see if Follower can take out an additional character in the short term here. Also, if you're curious about some other matches going on right now, Yeeter Dude has another who is a participant in this tournament. They are streaming from their point of view. So if you want to check out that stream as well, definitely go for it. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Fowler not quite able to finish off Elemento's Ranger. And due to that support stance, that might be it for this round. And that is what happens here. So excellent match. Actually got pretty close near that end, since character 6 does not have that much in terms of defensive capabilities. So awesome match right here, and looking forward to a lot of other ones. So let's just double check and take a look at who's got some matches going on right now. So we've got Sly and Warrix having a battle right now. However, they have been battling for a good 9 minutes so far. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna check out the next round, which is going to be Yeeter and Elemento again. So we're just gonna wait until they're done linking up and choosing their characters, and once they get into the formation, we'll switch on over. It looks like we've got, we are doing a best of 3 right now. So we just watched, Elemento and Follower, on their first round. So they're going to have another battle. So that's why you don't see any, points up right here yet. So once they're done with their best of 3, that's when you'll start to see, some wins and losses here. So actually, I think we're going to do some rapid fire stuff while we're waiting here. We're just going to check up on that battle between Sly and Warrix. I'm super curious on how that's going. So despite them going on for almost 11 minutes now, which they should be clearing that up pretty soon. However, we are able to watch this from the beginning. So I'll try to keep up, and then we'll see how it goes. All right. Ooh, there we go. I might have dropped some frames there. My bad. So we have one of those new formations here, battlefield layouts rather, with 2 tiles being blocked out on both sides. Looks like both players from the get-go are using a full row formation with their characters, taking advantage of that defensive bonus they get from being behind characters. Warrix getting an even more of a bonus due to the warrior's defensive stance, which takes melee damage as well as boosts defensive capabilities for themselves as well. Getting some early totem placement as well as an early combo from Sly, getting that trap down, using the Ranger's trap and then supporting the engineer who pulls the warrior into that trap. The side effect of this is that it opens up totem to for attacks, but it looks like they're going to move right back to that character, taking no chances there. Warrix is definitely looking to focus down that ranger early on here, due to how much damage they can output over the course of an entire game, especially since Sly does not have that character defended with their evasive stance or anything like that. So they are definitely pretty vulnerable right now. Let's see what who they start targeting and how they are going to deal with this. It looks like they're going to go for kind of complete offense as of right now. So they have some support attacks going off right here, whittling down that character 6. We see some new totem placement here. Moving back the engineer in the turn order, it looks like the warrior is going to be able to get off another ability here before they are able to, before they are able to finish him off. The engineer is no longer able to pull the warrior back in. However, they're going to do a little bit of a defense break to soften them up to finish them off at some point. So Sly's ranger has been finished off at this point. However, they have a full health engineer as well as a character 6 who is going to be dishing out some damage pretty soon. We see a new totem placement, switching over to that damaging stance, kind of forcing character 6 to move. Character 6 is, totem is able to take out that warrior at a pretty key part right here, evening up this battle. However, Warrix is definitely getting a lot of damage output from those support abilities. And Warrix's ranger is up next as well, so it looks like we are probably going to see some elemental damage output right here due to that focus. But we'll see what happens. They might be saving it for some healing and some damage output with the ranger's other focus ability. Definitely thinking about what they want to do next here. Just going to do a nice little quick shot on that engineer. No reason to overextend and spend that focus, especially since they're very close to getting that last one standing bonus, which increases their damage output considerably. So once they do that, they might opt for using that focus ability to really deal some AoE damage. Interesting thing to point out right here is that effectively these layouts have turned into a 2x3, having the Sly's ranger being knocked out in that top row, as well as Sly's totem being placed into the top slot there on Warrix's side of the battlefield. So an interesting kind of way of kind of manipulating the battlefield to character 6's, totem's advantage at this kind of like later section of the fight. Sly really thinking hard about whether he wants to take out Warrix's totem. They're not able to do it quite yet, but they definitely think it's worth doing as of right now. It's going to be pretty tight here. Let's see what Warrix does with their totem here. Looks like they're going to use a pressure release with that support ability. However, funnily enough, they are going to take critical damage from that engineer's ability. Warrix kind of cleaning up shop at this point. There's not much that that engineer can do due to their not having much, one, physical defense, and also their levitate doesn't really help them with range damage. So unfortunately, it looks like Sly is probably going to take an L here. A valiant effort, doing some damage right there with that last one. Standing bonus, taking down that defense as well. But it looks like Warrix is going to finish out this fight. There we go. All right. We're still zeroed up on this current bracket right now. We're not going to see much change until we have some updates with some of these fights here. So due to there being 5 participants this time around, there's only going to be basically 2 battles going on at any time, just due to how that works. So we're going to be basically switching between two sets of players at any time right here. All right, so we have an update. The battle between Elemento and Follower has resolved, and Elemento took 2 fights in a row. They have won, so as of right now, early lead from Elemento. We have Follower in the chat here, clearly sandbagging, lulling their opponents into a false sense of security. Their words, not mine. I'm going to go to... it looks like Sly and Warrix are selecting characters again, so I'm just going to double check and check that out real quick. Yeah, if you guys are having issues with your battles or anything like that, just message Jason. It looks like he's already on it, but, you know, stuff happens sometimes. So just let us know as soon as you see an issue. We're going to switch over to this fight between Sly and Warrix. All right. Similar battle layout right here. Each player thinking they could have done something slightly differently to really... make a difference in their battles. So we're going to see if there's any different strategies here. Sorry, just checking out some metrics right now. It looks like I have 0 drop frames so we're good for now. Also, just as an aside, if you guys notice any like weird audio lag between what's happening right here with my mouth and the words that are coming out of it, let me know. I was experiencing some weird like camera lag at some point, so just let me know if it seems to have fixed itself. Thought I did, but you never know sometimes. Things change, especially with Windows system updates, so that's what happens. So we're seeing some interesting totem placements here on both sides of the battlefield. Looks like both players are foregoing that kind of center style placement with their individual totems. More so going for a specific type of targeting here with the stun module, pushing those characters back in the turn order. We see an early trap from Sly. Let's see if Warrix does the same at some point. They have their warrior first, though. Let's see who they are going to start targeting first. Basically, any one of Sly's characters right now are fair game. So let's see who Warrix is going to try to focus down first. Oh, good. It looks like any issues that people are having with the rounds have been resolved. So, good sign. So it looks like Warrix is going to start trying to focus down that ranger. Taking a little bit of damage from Sly's engineer, but due to Warrix having the ranger supporting that warrior, definitely worth it. However, it does look like Sly is trying to focus down Warrix's character 6 as of right now, due to their trap placement. It looks like Warrix is not going to be able to move their totem out of the way, their totem character out of the way, before they are going to be able to get that off. So let's see if they try to mitigate any damage right here. You always have the option of placing another character onto that trap before the intended trap recipient takes their turn. So we'll see if that happens right here. It does not, so it looks like Warrix will let Sly use that ability. Now, the thing is, Sly does have all three characters right here are options for their arm hook, so they could deal a decent chunk of damage to any character right now. So let's see who they start trying to focus down. They really haven't committed as of right now. All right, it looks like they're going to try to focus down that ranger. A pretty good option as of right now, because that character can take a lot of damage and also dish out a lot of damage over the course of a battle. Sly also has their character 6 their totem up next. So we'll see what they do here. Warrix definitely did attempt to kind of defend whoever got pulled into that trap due to their warrior having that defensive stance up. That does help a lot, so we could have seen definitely a little bit more damage here being dealt to Warrix's ranger. However, they're taking less damage due to that defensive bonus. So it looks like Warrix has their totem ready to go. Let's see who they're gonna try to target right here. They're gonna use a pressure release there on Sly's totem. Getting off some combo damage there due to who the ranger was supporting. Warrix's ranger getting down to a dangerous amount of health right now. Pretty much it looks like it's gonna be kind of like a 50-50 at this point, whether they're gonna get taken out by that totem, and they are taken out by that totem, freeing up Sly's round here to start focusing down a new character immediately. Now, Sly has a couple of options with what they're going to do with that support stance. With the ranger stance. They could do a support stance to get a little bit of that extra damage out. They do have their totem character up next, so they would be able to immediately take advantage of that. However, they might go for a different strategy of using that kind of evasive stance to make that character a little less attractive of a target. It looks like they're going to start focusing down Warrix's totem as soon as they possibly can, leaving their warrior with no one to support. They are going to use that support to try to take out totem as fast as they can. Let's see if this pays off, since they do have Warrix does have their warrior up next. They have character 6 and their warrior, so they have totem and their warrior, so it leaves basically both of those characters, both Sly's ranger and Sly's totem, pretty vulnerable as of right now. Sly going for a classic combo of using that pressure release with the ranger support stance, dealing some decent damage. Warrix's totem down to 11 health as of right now. So they're going to have to move out of the way pretty soon. Moving behind the warrior might not be a solid choice. Well, they can't actually. Because beneath the shroud of steam, there is a knocked out character. So Warrix is unable to move their character behind that warrior. So we'll have to see what they are going to do. Are they going to move out of the way? Or are they going to stay there? They are going to use that pressure release on Sly's engineer. We're going to move forward in line with that warrior. So the warrior is up next. Getting actually a little bit of a offensive bonus from being shoulder to shoulder with Totem as of right now. Really going hard on that ranger, unfortunately, is not quite enough to knock them out. Switching over to a sentinel stance to get not only an attack bonus, but in case of a melee attack, they're able to get off a little bit extra damage. Unfortunately for Warrix, they're not able to take advantage of that right now because just about all of Sly's attacks are ranged. Sly being able to take out Warrix's totem, leaving Warrix with only that warrior. However, they do get the last one standing bonus as well as a little bit extra damage. See what Sly does right here. Yes, okay, so they are going to focus up. So it looks like they're going to try to do either some additional elemental damage, or they're going to get into a situation where they could actually pin that character. So the warrior will not be able to do any offensive abilities as of right now. Both of them are valid, and at this point, I think the battle is almost over at this point. So we'll see. Let's see how Warrix feels about that. Some solid strategy from Warrix here within this battle. However, it's not quite enough here. Warrix, even though dealing some decent damage against Sly in that situation, decides to call it quits, and Sly takes the battle here. So, what do we got? So this is going to go to a 3-round battle between Sly and Warrix, it looks like. Warrix taking the first battle and Sly taking the second. For now, we're just waiting on a couple of battles to start here. Between the fight between Elemento and Yeeter, that first battle goes to Elemento. We'll probably join them for the next battle, but we'll see. Otherwise, we're going to be checking in with Sly and Warrix for their third and final fight here. So it looks like Elemento and Yeeter are going to be starting their match. They're currently selecting characters. So we'll just switch over to that battle once they're done selecting their characters and, once they're in their formations. All right, and it looks like we're gonna start. So Elemento has the Berserker, the Ranger, and Totem on their side. Yeeter has an identical strategy here, slightly different layout for these players. Elemento is able to... Oh, excuse me. Did I join the wrong fight? I might have. Doesn't look like I did, though. Never mind. We're going real fast there. A lot of early decisions. So we have both totems down for both players right here. Both of them within range of all 3 possible targets. It looks like Elemento is going for an early target on Yeeter's Ranger. However, Yeeter's Ranger does have their evasive stance up, which is going to be very beneficial in that kind of opening salvo. Yeeter also taking a little bit of chip damage from that totem. No surprise to see totem on both sides of the battlefield right now. That character being pretty effective at these more limited style battlefields. See what Elemento does right here. Are they going to continue to try to focus down that Ranger? No, they're not. They're going to start going for Yeeter's totem right now. Elemento's Berserker is now up. Let's see what they do here. Are they going to keep on focusing on character 6? No, they're not. They're going to take some damage here, trading off with Yeeter's Ranger. However, it is not quite enough to knock them out, unfortunately. But I think that's definitely puts Yeeter on the back foot here in terms of their strategy. Like, what are they going to do? Elemento putting themselves in kind of the line of fire here with putting their Berserker into that tunnel vision stance as opposed to the Sentinel stance. It looks like Yeeter is going to be able to get off a decent combo here from their characters. Let's see if we see a trade blows here. Could make a huge difference. However, they do not go for that. Yeeter is definitely of the mind that they will be able to chip down that Berserker in other ways, especially because of that totem placement. Now, Elemento is a little bit stuck here because they can either try to take out that Ranger or they can start. Yep. So they try to take out that Ranger is not quite going to be enough here. Other options would be to keep on trying to focus down that totem or go for a little bit of value on that Berserker. However, it doesn't quite pay off for them. So it looks like Yeeter is going to be able to use that Ranger now. They don't have to necessarily take out the Berserker, so they're going to try to deal a little bit more damage to Elemento's Ranger. Elemento's Berserker is now out of the picture, so they have to figure out what they are going to do here, who they're going to try to focus down as of right now without taking advantage of that tunnel vision, which is very effective in these kind of tighter situations. Difficult situation right here because that Ranger is at such low health. They really need to take out that character pretty soon to prevent... yes, so they do. So they do a pressure release to get some quick damage in on that Ranger to take them out as soon as they possibly could. So we're back down to a 2v2 situation, so it's not as lopsided, which really helps out because the Ranger's support stance can really get in a lot of extra damage from different activators on Yeeter's side. So Yeeter attempting to push Elemento's Ranger back a little bit. Doesn't do all that much damage due to the positioning of the totem as of right now. But a little bit of damage is still it's still worth it. Seeing a huge amount of damage come out of that Ranger. Unfortunately, not quite enough. Down to that 1 health actually on Yeeter's totem. So Yeeter's going to be able to get off another just 1 more attack. Unfortunately, that's not true. Due to the stance on Elemento's totem, able to get in that little extra chip damage that really makes a difference. So we are now down to a 2v1 situation. Unfortunately for Elemento, that Berserker can be absolutely brutal when it has that last one standing bonus. It still has a decent chunk of health. So let's see how Yeeter's going to make the most of the Berserker's damage output. Able to do 15 damage pretty quickly to Elemento's Ranger, getting them down to dangerous amounts of health as of right now. Yeeter switching over to an Intimidate stance here. Getting affected by stun, unfortunately. So they are going to get pushed back a little bit in that turn order. So let's see how much chip damage Elemento can get here. It looks like they're just going to go for a strategy of using that support stance, using that pressure release to get as much damage out as they possibly can. Going shoulder to shoulder to get out some additional damage output here. Just chipping them away slowly but surely. The Berserker is really good against melee attacks. Unfortunately, it's a little bit vulnerable to elemental damage as well as range damage. So it looks like Elemento is going to be able to take this one away as well. All right, and that's the game. All right. I'm going to switch on over to Sly and Warrix. They're in their third battle right now, and we're going to check out how they're doing. And we have the update right here. Elemento takes yet another win here, coming up for an early lead. Let's see how the battle between Warrix and Sly goes and see who can get some points up on the board here. We are catching up a little bit, so this battle is going to look a little bit quick. So I'll try to keep up. All right, so we have on Sly's side, we have a familiar scene here with the Ranger, the Ranger, Totem, and the Engineer. Some really good combos coming out from this this team composition. Warrix switches out that Engineer tech for more of a defensive style of play with that Warrior. Let's see what they're going to do here. Looks like both players are attempting to focus down Rangers. A decent choice. We're seeing some early traps up. Sly's going to have that Warrior. Take a little bit of damage there. Getting off a lot of damage on Sly's Ranger here. Let's see what Sly does, if they're going to take advantage and try to get that totem. They do get that totem down to dangerous levels of health. Also, with that support, is it going to be enough? Not quite, down to 4 health. That's still absolutely brutal. Putting Warrix on the back foot there. It looks like, unfortunately, they're not going to take enough damage from that. Oh my goodness, from that ability. But actually, since they got off an attack on that side of the battlefield, they're going to take some chip damage from Sly's Engineer right there. 2 early knockouts right here. Sly's side with the Ranger down and Warrix's side with their Totem down. So let's see how this is going to turn out here. The Warrior is definitely at a high amount of health and able to deal some decent damage here, getting some support out from that Ranger. The Engineer is going to get another attack here. However, unfortunately for that Engineer, that Sentinel stance really limits their options. They're going to try to focus up, and they're probably going to levitate here, but they're not. They're actually going to go out in front here, realizing that it's not going to help them in terms of their survivability. So Warrix able to take out Sly's Totem pretty quickly here, dealing a decent amount of damage with that damage bonuses. It just really starts to add up here. The Warrior and the Ranger are definitely good combos with each other. The Warrior able to stay in the battle for a very long time to use their decently damaging abilities to activate that Ranger support. So unfortunately for Sly, it looks like Warrix is going to take that fight. And we'll see up here. Warrix has taken the best of 3 there. We're We're still very early in this bracket, so plenty of room for upsets here. All right. Who are we going to check in on next? I believe we're going to check in on Follower Neater, but let's see who's got some battles going. It looks like we're going to have Follower Neater up here. I'm just going to join that battle. They just started, so I'm going to see how it's going. All right, so we've got Follower Neater here, Follower on the left-hand side, Yeater on the right. We have one of those new battlefield formations here with 2 spaces blocked off on the top row. Follower with very familiar strategy here with the Engineer, Totem, and the Ranger. Yeater going for the Berserker, the Ranger, and Totem as well. Some early Totem placement on the front lines there. Follower able to kind of like cordon off their Ranger so it's not going to be able to be targeted by that Totem soon. But however, Yeater could definitely use that stun module to slow down Follower's characters. Looks like Follower is going to go for a combo right here, getting off that trap combo. So hopefully they are able to knock out character 6, Totem. It looks like that's what they're going to try to do here, but thinking a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what the best strategy is. And it looks like they are going to go for that early damage. Wow, just absolutely brutal damage there with that arm hook into that trap. So very, very early knockout on Totem. Looks like Totem is a little bit more of a squishier character than some people realize here. Totem definitely... depending on the stances that you choose, that can really make or break their defensive capabilities. Either stance adding effectively 40% damage reduction in either elemental or physical damage. So depending on, you got to focus on whether you want to do defensive kind of style choosing of what kind of totems, like what kind of stance you're using, or you're going to be using it on a more aggressive style. Like, I don't care about my defenses, so all I care about is whether or not I'm pushing people back in that turn order, or whether I'm doing some overall damage with that shock module. So it looks like Yeater is trying to focus down that Ranger as soon as possible. However, Follower is getting out a lot of damage here. Yeater definitely waiting to get the most out of the Berserker's tunnel vision. Or that Berserker is taking a ton of damage from... taking a ton of elemental damage from Follower's Totem as of right now. It looks like they're going to be able to finish off that Berserker before they're able to get off another attack. Really trying to make sure, secure the kill there on that Berserker. And it looks like they are going to be able to do that. Yeater could do some interesting placement with their Ranger to try to soak up some damage. But the odds are not in their favor as of right now, as the Berserker still has 2 more rounds. The Berserker can't move either, so it's kind of a foregone conclusion as to whether that character is going to survive. So getting off some additional damage there. Follower's Ranger is almost out of commission as of right now. Looks like Yeater's Ranger does have that last one standing bonus. Easily able to take out Follower's Ranger, but they're fighting an uphill battle here against Follower's Totem and the Engineer. So we got Follower's Totem right here, getting off that another pressure release. Whittling down Yeeter pretty quickly. Yeeter kind of sees the writing on the wall as of this point, and concedes. So Follower getting off a very early lead here, but there's still plenty of battle left. All right. How's everybody doing? You doing good? I'm doing good. I love these tournaments. Get to see some really cool stuff. You know, it's different from behind the scenes testing. Oh man. Yeah, seriously, even if you don't rack up any wins, like, in these tournaments, like, it's really not, like, a big deal. A lot of people, it's interesting. Like, people's levels are, like, completely all over the place. Sometimes you can win, like, a ton of games in one tournament, and then another tournament completely whiff. Like, it totally happens. We saw that, I think it was 1 or 2 tournaments ago, I believe, where Exordium took, like, it took an entire tournament by storm, even beating Warrix. And they really, you know, they were seen as like an absolute like mastermind of strategy. And then the tournament after that, they didn't do so well. But that happens. That can happen. Like, seriously, you don't always have to have your A game in these fights. Like, people have good days and some people have bad days, and that happens on any competitive style thing, sports or esports or whatever you want to call it. So really don't worry about your numbers here. Like, it's not, it's like, I mean, I guess technically this is a cash tournament, but like, it's this isn't a game in alpha. Like, really don't worry about it. We're just here to have a good time and watch some cool battles and get to know other people in the community. So all right, we are going to switch to a battle between Sly and Elemento. Let's see what Sly can do here. Let's see if Sly can take out Elemento. Elemento undefeated so far, but it's still very early in this tournament. We're just gonna take a couple of seconds while they are choosing their characters and all that kind of stuff. All right, it looks like Sly and Elemento have started their fight, so we're gonna join them. All right, let's go. Gotta move that cursor off the screen real quick. All right, we have a classic Battlefield layout here. Just a full 3x3. Plenty of room for shenanigans. Sly has the warrior, the ranger, and the engineer in a full column starting stance here. Not something that we've seen so far in the tournament. Elemento going for a hybrid formation with the berserker, the ranger, and totem. Yeah, it's funny. Sly. It's funny that you say that. Sly's kind of formation right here is pretty old school in terms of, like I believe in like the first tournament, this was the dominant strategy, which is pretty interesting. But we'll see what happens here. They might be forced to move a little bit, depending on, you know, what Elemento does with totem, but you never know. Also, the way that things are laid out right now, the warrior is in the line of fire with the berserker's tunnel vision. So we'll see what happens. A fellow developer, Jason, who is piloting the Stray Basilisk account right now, says in the chat, interesting to see if Totem holds up now in a 3x3. Yeah, that's always like an interesting, you know, that's an interesting question, because basically what we were doing with the last patch was, this patch rather, trying to kind of like nerf character 6, but it was very incremental. So last tournament we saw a lot of the most limited types of battlefield being present like half the time, or 2/3 of the time, I think, actually. And now that there's more types of battlefield layouts in the rotation, you don't see that as much. So Totem isn't always going to be in a situation where they have a very restricted battlefield. So that reduces their efficiency a little bit, but you know, all these characters are pretty effective no matter what the battlefield layout. It's just a little bit of degrees of effectiveness depending on how much that character focuses on area control. Looks like Sly is going to try to start focusing down Elemento's Berserker. It looks like we're going to be seeing an arm hook from Sly's engineer here to deal even more damage to that Berserker. Yep, we're seeing a lot of damage here. Is that support going to be enough? Yes, it is just about going to be enough damage here. Sly being able to take out, just about being able to take out that Berserker for some really early damage. Sly definitely taking a decent amount of damage on their warrior, so not all is lost on Elemento's side. But Elemento is probably going to have to switch up their strategy now. Let's see what they do here. They could do a pressure release, try to focus down that warrior as much as possible. It looks like they can definitely do it, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, due to the fact that they're not really affected as much by Sentinel Stance, since these are ranged characters. So they're going to be able to chip away at that warrior before that warrior can take another action at this point. I mean, especially since Totem was able to place their totem right behind that warrior, so they're able to do some additional chip damage as well. Sly using quick shot right there to start to chip away at Elemento's Ranger while they are a little bit vulnerable right now, since they're not using that evasive stance. Moving back to the engineer to get that shoulder-to-shoulder damage bonus there, since they're pretty sure that their warrior is going to be knocked out. Solid move. All right, it definitely looks like that warrior is going to be taken out. Looks like Elemento is probably going to do another pressure release on that warrior. However, depending on how things go here, there is a situation where Elemento might try to beat the odds and start chipping away at a new target. There's kind of a 50-50 as to whether that warrior is going to be dead. Actually, I wasn't thinking. That warrior's definitely gone due to when they start their turn, they're going to get hit by the second half of that pressure release. So definitely looking to start chipping away. It looks like Elemento is trying to take down that ranger as fast as they possibly can. Since they don't care too much about the engineer's levitation, so they're able to chip away from range basically as much as they want. Let's see what Sly does here. Depending on different situations, they could get out a trap combo, and that looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. They could even probably take out that ranger pretty quickly, to be honest. Yep, that's exactly what they're going for here. So let's see how much damage they can actually output here. With that support stance targeting that engineer, it looks like it's probably going to be enough. An arm hook into the trap. Don't even need that support stance. That was plenty of damage right there. Sly taking a little bit of damage, unfortunately, from that totem. So it looks like they're going to start to get chipped down over the course of the next few turns here. But let's see if Elemento retains that stance, changes it. Doing a little bit of Disruptor Blade there. Unfortunately, for Elemento, it does not trigger that turn order pushback. They are going to have to wait for that Ranger to take another turn, and then they will be able to do something. Plenty of turns by that character, though. If you look up in that turn order, it looks like Elemento's Totem will have every other turn. So they're definitely able to output a decent amount of damage at this point of the game, since their speed is just so fast. Unfortunately, they are a little bit squishy as of right now. So Elemento is going to have to do something pretty quickly in order to get the upper hand. Definitely starting to use that pressure release on the Ranger, trying to get out as much damage as they possibly can. They're going to keep on continuing to use that shock module, rather, to whittle away the engineer. Unfortunately, for Elemento, the engineer does have a lot of elemental defense, but it looks like it might not matter at this point, considering that Elemento does only have 5 health left on their totem. So it looks like, as of right now, I'm kind of interested to see how the overall stats stack up, but it looks like, Character 6 is not as dominant in these strategies as, Totem. I'm gonna have to get used to that. Totem is not as dominant in these strategies as they once were. So we're definitely seeing a little bit of a shakeup in these strategies here. But we'll see what happens in the kind of like final results. Very curious as to what those stats are going to look like in terms of character pick rate, as well as their win percentage, because both of those things are. All right. Who is in combat? Who is in combat right now? Just checking out some stuff from behind the scenes. I have a fun little visualizer back here that allows me to join the battles. I can actually show you guys that. The fun little thing that Jason whipped up allows me to see like all the battles that are happening at any point in time. So it's pretty cool. Definitely helps out from my end. So let's see if I can show you. Whoa. Woo, that's fun. All right, I'm just gonna drag my screen over here. Quick. this is what I'm seeing on my side. So I can see the overall results here, and basically every fight that's gonna happen, as well as every fight that has happened. And once these update, I'm actually gonna keep this on my screen because it's cool. Once someone starts a battle, you can kind of see. Yeah, I'm giving away our secrets. Yeah, Jason. You can kind of see like how long a battle has gone on for. So that's like super helpful. While we're waiting for battles and stuff like that, you can see my layout, my lovely layout. I can see you guys chatting here. I can see myself. Feel all my audio stuff right here. All of my sources, which way too many. Ooh, brackets, my favorite. And all of my scenes and stuff like that. So fun stuff. If you guys have any questions about like streaming and stuff like that, I've had to learn a lot in a very short period of time. So yeah. See, brackets are fun. I can do stuff like this. I just have to remember where I put things. This is good enough. This is totally fine. All right, it looks like I'm gonna turn this display off real quick. It looks like Sly and Elemento are gonna do their second battle, so I'm gonna switch over to that. I'm just gonna take a quick break, but I'll leave you guys with the stream so you guys can check that out. And I'll join you guys after that battle's over. So let me just load that up for you all. And yeah, don't go anywhere because I'll be right back. How do I always how do I always like every single time that I go away from a fight, it's always like the closest thing possible. Every single time. Like every time. It's crazy. So I'm sad that I missed that one, you guys, but you can always I might actually go watch that when we get back. So or after this is over, rather. I have words today, yeah. Is that what the secret is? Do I have to just leave every time we want an exciting battle? I was trying to be real sneaky and like have like a power bar real quick. Yeah, clip it. If you guys see cool stuff, definitely clip it. And we'll put it on our Twitter probably. Oh, hey, Malieve, how's it going? Yeah, I'll have to check that battle out after this whole thing. I'm just gonna wait. You guys know what the back end looks like now, so I'm just gonna wait until it updates so we can see who's currently battling. Yeah, Malieve, no pressure. You don't have to. Oh, Malieve, you didn't get to see it, did you? Did you get to see my stream setup thing, the lovely thing that Jason set up for us? Yeah, and also if you're exhausted, you don't have to you don't have to be like an active member of the stream. Oh, okay. I'm going to okay, I can show you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show it after this fight. There's a battle currently going on between Warrix and Follower. And after that, I'll show you the shenanigans from the back. I just saw someone say that I don't lock any of my stuff. And I probably should. But that's for another time. All right, I'm going to start this battle. Can't stop me. It's going to happen. All right. Got Warrix and Follower. I'm very excited for this. Follower being pretty new to the scene. Warrix being reigning champion as of right now. So. All right. No surprise seeing character 6, rather Totem, actually, now. No surprise seeing Totem here on both sides of the battlefield for this particular layout. I'm seeing some early placement here. Warrix, thankfully, being able to move out of the way there for a little bit, out of that Totem's range. Here we got, we see an early trap combo from Follower, probably, it looks like. But we see Follower's Totem character getting knocked out really early. Warrix learning from other battles and taking the brunt of that damage from the trap. So we're starting to see some strategic use of setting off those traps early, which really helps out with like switching your characters being able to survive till later rounds. I see that Follower's actually chatting here, so don't worry about it, dude. You can bring this one back. I believe in you. Unfortunately for you, I also believe in Warrix, so. And if you lose this one, Follower, don't worry. There's it is best of 3, so. All right, we've got Follower here. They're still trying to whittle down that warrior. If they're able to take them out, that's pretty good. But it looks like they're going to switch over to the Ranger as of right now, getting that chip damage. Follower's Ranger is still at full health, so they with that evasive stance, they can stay in the battle for a decent amount of time. using that levitate stance on the engineer to not be targeted by the warrior. The warrior doesn't really have a lot of really juicy targets as of right now, so they're trying to figure out how they're going to use that character. Warrix can always use their ability to give other characters focus. That's super good in this circumstance, but it all depends on what Warrix wants to do. It looks like they want to just get in some extra chip damage here with that warrior, just kind of poking away. Really trying to hang on to that warrior as much as possible. So they're going to use that defensive stance right there. Warrix really chipping away at Follower's engineer. And, you know, depending on what Warrix wants to do, it looks like Follower's going to lose that engineer very quickly. And there it is. So Follower does have the last one standing. Excuse me. Whoa, my words. Follower does have the last one standing bonus on their Ranger, so they are going to be able to dish out a decent amount of damage. But is it enough to be able to take out that warrior? The warrior is actually being defended by the Ranger as of right now to get that extra amount of defense. So is it enough though? It looks like Follower is actually going to try to drag this battle out a little bit, trying to use that focus. Let's see if they do an AoE, if they do a heal, you don't know. There's a lot of attacks on Warwick's side though, so we see an early dodge. However, that second attack is not going to be dodged there. Once Follower takes their next turn with that Ranger, they are going to be hit with that pressure release. Not dodging here either. Against that Ranger's attack. Warrior does go in and it is dodged. However, that support is not dodged. It looks like Follower is going to take critical damage here, and they do. I just saw a Follower comment in the chat there, Ranger 1v3 carry. You'd be surprised sometimes. Honestly, you'd be very surprised. So, we're getting a little farther into this battle, into this tournament, rather. We got a few more fights here. Definitely, a lot of things are still up in the air. We have 2 players that have 2 wins, 2 players that have 1 win each. It's still like, I mean, if either can get in a couple, or I think they have, yeah, they could still get a win here. Like, definitely, it's like, definitely with our top 4 right here, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be pretty close. I'm very curious how this fight between Sly and Elemental goes, as well as this combat between Warrix and Follower. They've still got a long way to go, but that being said, you know, it's a really early tournament right now. While we're waiting for another fight to start, I might have a surprise. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. All right, I promise I'll be right back. It'll be very quick. Very, very quick. We have a visitor. I'll try to get him in frame. Hey, hello. Park. All right, I'm gonna have to put him down. I had to put him down. He was being a good sport. He's an older pup, so it's okay. You don't. You did a good job. You were very patient. He's just standing there now. He didn't understand what was going on. Sorry. Yeah. That is my dog Garrus. He does not have the personality of the real Garrett. But he is a good pup. I think he's gotten a little 10 or 11. Maybe 12 at this point. He's a rescue, so we have no idea how old he is. Anyway, get back to the battle. What do we got going on? We've got a second fight between Warrix and Follower, so we're gonna jump right in. They've been going for about 3 minutes now, so we're just gonna have a little bit of catching up to do. All right. We got Warrix on the left and Follower on the right. We have one of those new battlefield layouts that we were talking about here. With two of the backmost columns being blocked out on the top row. Both sides having a ranger, Warrix using that warrior and totem. Follower also using totem and the engineer. Popular characters this time around, character 6 and ranger, as per usual. Character 6's, or excuse me, totem, as we're now calling them, still popular, even on these slightly less locked out layouts. Warrix getting a really early combo out on Follower. Is Follower going to be able to get off that combo? I'm not sure. Doesn't quite look like it. Well, we'll see if Warrix can finish off that character, and he does with that pressure release. So it's really knocking out Follower pretty early here. Let's see what happens. Still plenty early in this fight. However, Follower does lose that combo potential of pulling Warrix's characters into that trap. Follower does have a few options though. Namely a little bit AoE damage they can do with both Totem and with the Ranger. However, Warrix is a little bit ahead right now. So unfortunately, Follower is probably going to have to focus on knocking out one of Warrix's characters, so their combo potential is not as high. Because Warrix is going to be able to get out a lot of attacks with that Ranger as of right now. All we're getting very close of knocking out that warrior though, so it's gonna be. It looks like this is gonna be relatively close. And looks like we are in a mirror match as of right now. Follower really being able to even things up very quickly. Looks like Warrix is going to start focusing down Follower's totem. Decent target considering how squishy they are. I mean, both characters are relatively squishy, but you know, it all depends on what stance that Ranger has up. Follower using that support stance, realizing that they have to go on the offensive here. However, it leaves that Ranger a little bit vulnerable. So let's see what Warrix does, if they're going to keep on focusing down Totem, or if they're going to switch over to the Ranger while they can. Looks like they're going to switch over to that ranger while they still can. Because a full health ranger at the end game is a very interesting, when I say interesting, it's very difficult opponent to have to fight in a 1v1 situation near the end of the game. And a little bit of combo off on Warrix' Ranger. Evening things up in that race of to take out both players' Rangers right now. Let's see who Warrix targets here. Are they going to keep on going against that Ranger? If they're going to switch over to Totem. Gonna keep on trying to take advantage of that Ranger not having their evasive stance up. Solid choice. Follower does have the opportunity of switching that up right now. So at this point, anything goes. I mean, they have 5 health left, so basically almost any attack on Warrix' side is going to be able to take that character out. So they're going to have to be really careful with their positioning here, and also what stance they choose. And they're definitely going to go for that evasive stance, moving into the front row in order to get that 35% dodge. Dodges the first attack, does not dodge that second attack, however, which is an objectively bad thing. However, Follower's Totem does get that last one standing bonus, so they are going to be able to get a little bit of damage output here the next coming rounds. Let's see what they do here. Getting off a little pressure release on Warrix' Ranger. Let's see where they move and what stance they choose here. Because as of right now, they're not hitting any characters with their stance's offensive capabilities, so they should be checking out what kind of armor they're going to be getting here. Now, unfortunately, they did move out of a nice little spot. In this game, you don't have to move necessarily. So, unfortunately, due to it being so close to that totem, they are gonna Warrix might be switching over to that more offensive stance. But it looks like they're gonna go for the stun module instead. Could have gone for the shock module, get off a little bit extra damage. It probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference, especially at this point in the game, but, you know, every little thing helps. Doing some extra damage here. All right, that Ranger is out of commission, and it looks like Follower is going to be able to take another round with that character, pushing Warrix' Totem back another round. Let's see what they do with this. Going for another blade. It looks like they're trying to chain that round pushback. Seems to be working right now. We got 2 in a row. So it looks like there's gonna have to be a lot of blades, disruptor blades, in order to really have this work out in Follower's favor. But it looks like that last one did not work. So unless Warrix does something real interesting here, it looks like they're gonna be able to take this one away. The last disruptor blade does come in and secure the win for Warrix. But an incredibly close fight there, I think, to a lot of people's surprise. I have never seen 2 disruptor blades go off in a row that actually activated. That was really cool. So it really helped kind of like close that gap a little bit. But you know, it was stacked against their favor right there. Yeah, Follower, you just needed 7 disruptor blades. That's all that matters, right? I see. I'm just like checking out some of the I'm just like checking out some of the chat in the Discord as well as the one in Twitch. I see some stuff about the Disruptor Blade being kind of OP in 1v1. I mean, considering that Disruptor Blade only does like 5 damage if you're not like right next to if your target, it doesn't do that much damage. So honestly, like you would have to get 2 Disruptor Blades off for like every attack another character would have to do, because it just doesn't do that much damage. So in certain edge circumstances, it can be super effective, especially if you planned ahead and placed that totem with the the shock module stance. So they're actually also taking like some shock damage as well. Every time you push them back, like you get another round. But it can be nice. It can definitely be nice. So. All right, what have we got left? So it looks like Eater did bow out. They only had like one more battle anyway. So that's okay. That's cool. You know, there's always next time. There will be plenty of next times too. So in case some people don't know, we have these tournaments every 2 weeks, and they coincide with when we drop patches. So basically, we drop our patches every other Wednesday. And then that Saturday, that coming Saturday, that's when we have a tournament. So this patch that we're currently doing this tournament on has only been live for, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I guess like, you know, 3.5 days as of right now. So a lot of people are on even footing here. It's not like someone's had months to strategize and plan what happens, like changes from this patch. So while the changes from this patch have been minimal, it's cool that we've definitely have seen some different strategies pop up today. So especially some interesting strategies that were from like some of the original tournaments. So it looks like we're gonna have 2 more battles left here, or 2 more like full sets, 2 more matches rather. We have Warrix and Elemento going up for 1st and 2nd, and then we're gonna have Follower and Sly battle it out for 3rd and 4th. So yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, we're just gonna wait a little bit as we go. Yeah, Phoenix, this week's patch is one of the small patches. Even though we did add some like really cool battlefield layouts, the next patch is the bigger one where it's gonna have a new character, which is pretty cool. We're all looking forward to that. So it's like small patch, big patch, small patch, big patch. But even the small patches have like cool stuff, like new battlefield layouts and stuff. But I can talk about that later. We're going to switch over to the first match between Follower and Sly. And then we're going to check that out. We're going to see how that goes. So this is the battle for 3rd, by the way. Just in case people are wondering. All right. You're just joining right now. All right. Here we go. Get that cursor out of the way. All right, we have a very limited battlefield formation right here, so no surprise again to see Totem on both sides of the battlefield. We have a mirror match as of right now. Surprisingly, a little bit of different, a little different battlefield layout, or excuse me, you know, character formation rather from these sides here. So we'll see how that affects the flow of the battle. It looks like Sly is going to be able to move out of the way of Follower's trap here. But it looks like, excuse me, Follower might not be able to move out of the way here. So a whole another way, just another example of layouts really affecting, like how that starting character layout really affecting how the flow of battle goes. In this case, it was fatal for Follower's engineer here. So Sly is going to continue going on the offensive here, not using that levitate stance. They don't really need to, since Follower's attacks are mostly, almost all of them are range, so that's not going to make a difference, as levitate only affects melee. Getting some more pressure releases from Sly here. Let's see what kind of stance they choose. All right, we are going to go for another, another stun module here. We're getting out some, I'm trying to look at the module here. The stun module, so slowing down Follower's totem. Follower still looking to try to take out Sly's totem, which can make a big difference. That 18 health is not a heck of a lot as of right now, especially since totem is not being defended by anyone. So in this circumstance, it's, you know, it could just be one additional round. Especially since Follower is using that support stance from the Ranger, there's definitely the chance that Follower will be able to knock out Totem pretty soon. All right, let's see what Follower does here. Are they going to be able to tie it up? Maybe. I mean, it's only 15 damage, so definitely it looks like that's what they're probably going to do. Gonna use that pressure release, and also with the help of the Ranger support, is able to knock out Sly's totem as of right now. Both sides of the battlefield really getting a little bit claustrophobic here, with knocked out characters, traps from both sides still being active, pressure release, totems being placed. It's gonna get extra claustrophobic on Sly's side due to the fact that that pressure, Follower's totem is able to use that pressure release on any tile as of right now. However, Follower is looking a little bit rough right now, especially since Sly's engineer was still up, and eventually they were able to get off that trap combo, really doing a lot of damage to Follower's Ranger. Follower looking to try to focus up here to do some extra damage. Basically betting that they're going to be able to survive. It looks like they will, due to the fact that Sly's Ranger is not going to be able to, probably not going to be able to do 22 damage in one round, considering that they don't have focus. So let's see what Sly does here. It looks like we're going to see a an overload from Follower. I'm not sure if that's the first one of the tournament. I haven't watched all of them. Watched some of them, but it's always exciting when that happens. They were able to do a ton of damage, but not quite enough here. Putting down Follower's totem down to 3 health. So it looks like we will be able to see a system overload. All right, here we go. Let's see how much damage we can eke out here. Using that system overload, doing some AoE damage here, does some decent damage, and slows Sly's characters down a little bit, able to get off another round with Follower's Ranger. Able to do 16 damage there. That's absolutely massive. It's not quite enough to knock out that engineer, unfortunately, so that engineer will be able to take another turn here. Will that make a difference? It probably will, considering that the engineer does have 1 melee attack, so it will be able to target Follower's totem right here. Yep, and does 5 damage, which is, while not a heck of a lot, is definitely higher than 3. So it is just enough damage to knock them out, leaving Follower with a single character here. However, that single character does have the last one standing bonus. So Follower is going to have to choose whether they want to knock out Sly's Ranger here, They do not, so that ranger will get the last one standing. So as of right now, it looks like follower does not have the upper hand. So you do see a dodge from follower though. That helps out immensely, especially at this phase of the fight. So as at this point, it's luck of the draw. So we do see a good attack from follower's side, doing 15 damage there. At this point, it's pretty much anybody's game. And we see 20 damage over from Sly, and that is able to close out this fight. All right. All right, what do we got? Oh, okay, so this is for Maleev's sake, since we've already, other people have already seen this if you've been watching this whole time. So I'm going to drag a window onto this screen here real quick. Rack it off. Go into the infinite mode. Yep, you can't see this. That's good. On the back end, I can see who's fighting who and at what times. We can see that a fight between Elemento and Warrix has been going on for X amount of seconds here, about 400 seconds. So it's been a few minutes. We just finished up the fight between Follower and Sly. So all that good stuff. Yeah, it's fun. Jason makes some cool tools. We are very lucky. But anyway, so that's some fun stuff. Yeah, Elemento versus Warrix is almost over. Okay. In that case, what we're actually going to do is we're going to wait until that fight is over, and then we're actually going to switch to their fight again to see how that second battle goes, since we just watched Follower and Sly. So just as a reminder, Warrix and Elemento are battling for first and second place, and Follower and Sly are battling for third and fourth. So these are the last two matches of the day. We're just going to wait until that second fight between Elemento and Warrix. So, if you guys have any questions or want to chat about stuff, let me know. Oh, awesome, Maleev. Yeah. Next event should be pretty cool. Considering that there's going to be a new character. It's also really close to when your tournament is, right? So, are you participating in your own tournament, or are you gonna just be like overseeing it for the most part? Yeah, there's gonna be a new character. Indeed. Yeah, cool commentary. Sweet. I was gonna say, is yours before or after ours? I think yours is after ours, right? But anyway, at that point, you'll be used to what the new character is, so you can talk about them and all that stuff. So, also not a bad idea to check out the character before, you know, after the patch drops and before that tournament goes. So, so it looks like the battle between Warrix and Elemento has finished. Warrix did take that first round. So we're gonna wait until those two are in another battle, and then we'll join up and see how they're doing. Yeah, I believe I think we're all eager for a new character. It's really, every time we add a new character, it feels awesome. It's just a whole new thing. It completely changes the dynamic of just about everything. So yeah, new character drops in about 3 weeks. So yeah, like 2.5, 3 weeks. Should be what, the 24th? Yeah, 24th. So Our patches drop on Wednesdays. Or every other Wednesday, rather. Alright, it looks like Elemento and Warrix are selecting their formation and loadout right now. So we should be joining them pretty soon. Yeah, your tournament is just after our tournament, so we'll try to send some people your way. Do you have like a max number of tournament participants? I'm just curious because I saw there was like 8 slots for your tournament. I didn't know if that was just like the default. Yeah. Oh, okay. So okay, so that's just like how it's displayed. It's not like you made like an 8 slot tournament. Oh, okay, cool. I was just curious. I have no idea how that system works. So, what's the name of that again? So other people at home can know what we're talking about. The Battlefy? Yeah, Battlefy. It's pretty cool. We're on there. Anyway, all right. It looks like the second battle between Elemento and Warrix has started. So we're gonna go check that out. All right, let's switch on over. All right, this is a full 3x3. However, we do see Totem on both sides of the battlefield. Berserker and Ranger on Elemento's side, and the Warrior and the Ranger on Warrix's side. You see an early totem placement right there. Trying to focus on doing some damage to that Ranger. It looks like Warrix is going to do the same. However, they're going to focus on that Berserker. The Berserker taking much more damage due to its low elemental defense. And unfortunately for that Berserker, not quite as able to move out of the way. So Elemento kind of doing a little bit of a gamble there, using that tunnel vision early on. But it looks like that Berserker is just barely going to be able to get one attack out. However, it does count for a lot because it works his Ranger down to a critical level, so not all is lost. So Elemento can definitely get some additional damage out here by moving that Berserker. However, it looks like they're going to go for an Intimidate stance to dissuade some melee attacks here. Berserker is also out of the way of pressure release, so in order for Warrix to finish off at the Berserker, they're gonna have to get a little bit creative here. Probably something that they might not have been planning for. All right, we do see a pressure release from Elemento's side. Just looking at the chat real quick. It looks like Elemento is from the ARMS community, which is absolutely awesome and part of the EU region. Yeah, we have a lot of people from different regions here. Like we have some people on like west coast of US, east coast of US, and like a bunch of people from the EU as well. So it's always interesting seeing who shows up at different points of time and like coordinating that stuff. So if a tournament time is an issue for anybody, just let us know, and if we have enough people who really want to participate, but the tournament like start time might be a limiting factor, we can always like push it a couple hours either way probably. So just let us know, and we're more than happy to work something out. The Warrix is going to finish off that Berserker with a shot from the Ranger. Lucky enough for Warrix, they're able to do that since they have 4 health. Let's see what Warrix does here. They're probably going to go for a evasive stance to dissuade Elemento from trying to finish off that Ranger, but it looks like they're probably going to have to do that anyway, just because that's just way too juicy of a target as of right now. However, you never know. They could be going for some damage against Warrix as of right, or excuse me, Warrix's totem. So they are going to try to finish off that Ranger, and they do successfully do that. So it took that, however many percentage chance, 65% chance of doing it, and it connected. So this match is getting a little bit tied up right here. So Elemento definitely looking to get a win here to even up this series. Unfortunately for Elemento, Warrix has been able to place that totem in the center of the battlefield, really kind of enabling them to target any tile with that pressure release. However, it looks like Elemento is able to get off some early damage on that, on that totem, so they are going to be able to take out that totem relatively quickly. However, Warrix does have both of their characters lined up and ready to go, ready to take a turn, so they can dish out some serious damage pretty quickly here. They are going to use Inspire on Warrix's totem, so it looks like we are going to see a system overload here. Warrix really looking to push Elemento's characters back in the turn order and also deal some damage to both of those targets, really softening them up. It looks like they're going to do a lot of damage, especially from the damage boost from being shoulder to shoulder with the warrior. So it's an extra little bit of damage there. So this battle suddenly looking a lot closer than it was before. Elemento still looking to whittle down that character. Not being as limited by the warrior sentinel stance as a melee character would be. Unfortunately, they are going to take a little bit of damage here from that sentinel stance, which might make a huge difference. They are able to knock out Warrix's totem, however, so which is particularly dangerous on a full health warrior, having that last one standing bonus coming this far into the end of the round. It looks like Elemento's totem is going to be able to survive. It looks like they have quite a few attacks here, so let's see how much damage they are able to dish out in these 4 rounds. Early 4 damage there for a pressure release, 5 damage from support. It's not that much, so they're going to have to figure out something pretty quickly in order to get out as much damage as possible against this warrior. Still whittling away. So it looks like we're going to use a little bit of extra damage there from that Disruptor Blade, trying to push them back in the turn order, not quite connecting there, getting as much support combo potential off of the Ranger as they can. So the Ranger has one more round here before that Warrior is going to be able to take their turn. Really just taking as many quick shots as possible. So it looks like in order for Warrix to be able to survive this fight, it looks like they're going to have to take out Totem, because there's a lot of rounds left for Totem here. So let's see what Warrix does. And we do see that damage being dealt to Totem. They're going to have to move a little bit here to get out of that pressure release. Not a big surprise, but let's see what stance they choose here. They could go for a more defensive stance to try to take less damage from that last one standing Ranger, or they're going to go for a Sentinel stance to get a little bit extra damage off here. We got 12 damage right here from that Ranger's quick shot, getting that Warrior down. So basically what happened, I mean, it looks like Warrix is going to have to knock out this Ranger right here. A huge dodge from Elemento, sealing like victory for Elemento. So This was an incredibly close fight. All right. A very close fight here. And we are going to just go back to here real quick. See how everything's going. It looks like Sly was able to defeat Follower here in the first two battles. So Sly is officially has officially secured third place in this tournament. So congratulations, Sly. I think Sly was is a relative newcomer as well. I believe they were in the last tournament. And we're just gonna wait until we get into the final battle for today. Final battle of the tournament. Going to be Elemento versus Warrix here for the third battle of the match. Y'all got any plans after this? After this lovely tournament? I think I've got my eyes on I believe Persona 4 just dropped on for PC today. Or excuse me, for Steam rather. I don't know if it's on other platforms, but I'm pretty sure it's on Steam. So I think that's in my future. Also, I apologize if you have been messaging me during this tournament. I have streamer mode on, so I don't get those notifications. But I haven't been ignoring you. I'm sorry. Looks like the last battle between Elemento and Warrix has started. So we're gonna switch over to that in just a second. Once they get a little bit farther here. All right, cool. Time to duel. That's how that goes, right? I'm joking. I'm joking. I know that's not how that goes. All right. Here we go. Last match of the day for first and second place. We have Elemento on the left here and Warrix on the right. Elemento going with a Berserker Ranger Totem formation. Warrix going with a Totem Warrior Ranger formation. Both going for a hybrid layout right here in the beginning. Elemento being able to take advantage of that by placing down that totem in that little pocket here. Warrix going for a slightly different strategy and trying to slow down as many of Elemento's characters as possible. With that early stun there. So Rangers, seems like Elemento is going for Warrix's totem as soon as possible. This time, this is a different story. That Berserker is definitely looking like it will survive for a few more rounds more at least, due to the positioning here. Now, if Elemento did not put their totem behind that Berserker, it would have been able to been focused down by the shock module of Warrix's totem. So thankfully, Elemento has has figured out how to kind of counter that, because that totem is absolutely brutal. The shock module, rather, is actually absolutely brutal against the Berserker's very low elemental defense. However, that Berserker is looking really rough anyway. So let's see what Elemento does here in order to get the most out of that Berserker. We're getting a lot of combos here today. Elemento able to take down Warrix' character pretty low here. Sorry, I got really distracted by this actually excellent action here. My commentary has been slacking. Elemento's Berserker really doing some work here, activating Elemento's Ranger's support right here. So it looks like Elemento is looking to focus down Warrix' Ranger while it is still vulnerable. Warrix' Ranger does have the next turn though, so it looks like they are going to be able to switch over to a more evasive stance. Unfortunately for Warrix, it looks like they're not going to be able to take advantage of the Warriors' defensive stance here unless they move back with that Ranger and then afterwards move the Warrior up to that top row, which makes a little bit of an awkward situation between those couple of character turns. So let's see what they do here. They're going to try to do a little bit more damage to Elemento's Ranger. Let's see what kind of stance they choose here. Because they are relatively fragile for the time being until they can set up that formation. All right, we do see a support here. Warrix basically betting that that character will survive until that next turn. Otherwise, they would have gone for a more like evasive type stance here. Elemento looking to support that character 6 here. Let's see if they are able to finish off Warrix' Ranger. And it's going to be close. And it is definitely enough. So Warrix down to their last character, last one standing on that warrior, or that warrior is at full health, pretty much. So give or take 6 health. So it looks like they're going to be able to dish out some serious damage, almost completely knocking out that Berserker just with a basic attack at this point. Now it looks like the Berserker is going to be taking some damage no matter what they do against that warrior because they only have melee attacks. So, but Warrix definitely decides that this battle was not in their favor. 2 early knockouts before before Warrix was able to take out one of Elemento's characters. So that was a very quick and decisive victory for Elemento here. All right. So, super exciting tournament today. Saw some really cool stuff. Saw some Berserker in the battles. Definitely a lot of character 6 still. Really goes to show that character people are starting to like Totem, and it's definitely a character to be wary of. We have a little bit of chatter in the community Discord right now, so we'll see what's going up there. All right, so we actually might have one more battle today. If you're looking really closely, there was a situation where the Berserker was able to use their tunnel vision to attack through, I believe it was Warrix's, yeah, it was, I'm trying to remember here, Warrix's, one of Warrix's character through his warrior's defensive stance, which should not be happening. So we have a slight bug there. So I believe I believe, I'm just going to double check and make sure here. If both players are up to it, we can do a nice little rematch. All right, sweet. I have confirmation that both players are in the battle right now. And then we're going to switch on over to that fight pretty soon. All right, go. We have a mirror match, surprisingly enough. Without the Berserker in there, both players have decided that a formation of, a character loadout of the Totem, Warrior, and Ranger are the best bets right here. Seeing a very symmetrical start to this fight. So I'm curious how the players are going to deviate from each other's plans, basically. And they already have a little bit with Warrix using the Warrior Sentinel stance and Elemento using the Warrior's defensive stance. So we'll see how that early difference makes an impact on the rest of the fight. Warrix getting a good attack off on Elemento's Ranger early on here. Even through that evasive stance. But Elemento's Ranger is up next, so we'll see how that goes. Warrix opting to move behind Totem in order to get a little bit of defensive capability there. They did switch to that support stance, so they are looking to do a little bit more damage there. So they understand that they're probably going to be focus down on that Ranger, so they know that they're going to be taking damage, but they're like, all right, well, even though I'm going to be taking damage, I still want to get off a little bit of damage before that character is knocked out. Elemento does switch over to chipping away at Warrix's Totem right now. Also going for a symmetrical approach here, getting behind Totem as well. So Elemento is going to use the Warrior's Inspire ability to give focus to Totem. So it looks like we're going to see an early system overload, a very early one, actually. If Warrix does the same. Warrix does not do the same. Instead, opts to take out Elemento's Ranger as soon as they possibly can. So Warrix going for a more focused strategy. Elemento going for a more AoE-based attack here. See what they do. We're looking for a system overload. Whereas I'm looking for one, and we find it. Deals a ton of damage to Warrix's characters. Unfortunately, all those characters have a little ways to go before they're knocked out. So Elemento is probably going to have to try to focus down either, it looks like, either Totem or the Ranger at this point, and see how much damage they can really do here. The pressure release from Warrix's Totem, which deals some decent damage to Elemento. Elemento's Totem is also stunned. So kind of moving them back a little bit in that turn order, not quite enough. But they are going to take some decent damage going into their next turn. Let's see what they do here. Looks like they were attempting to try to attack Warrix's Totem. Unfortunately, Warrix's Warrior is on the front lines there. It does shift that character back in the turn order, so which is very helpful. Let's see if it makes a difference in this situation here. Definitely getting comboed down, unfortunately. So it's not especially clear if Elemento's totem is going to survive until their next turn. Dealing some extra damage there to Warrix's warrior. And it looks like Elemento's warrior will be the last one sitting on their side. So let's see how much damage they can output here before this round is over. Warrix is just chipping away at that warrior as of right now. Gonna take a few rounds, it seems like. So Elemento's warrior is the last one standing right now. They have that bonus. They have an extra bonus from that sentinel stance. It's gonna go off here. So Warrix still trying to chip away at Elemento's warrior. Another pressure release here. So Elemento's warrior is down to 16 health right now. You may see a concede, we may not. We got still, just as a point of pride, try to take out Warrix's warrior here. Getting it down to 4 health. So, however, we are going to see another pressure release going into 2 more turns from Warrix's side here. Definitely enough to close out this fight. And that is the match. So it looks like Warrix will take this tournament here today. So Warrix wins the best of 3. Elemento taking 2nd place here. And I'm just going to check the bracket real quick. It looks like Sly does take 3rd. So awesome job, everybody. That was a really cool tournament. Did find a bug at the very end, though, but you know, it wouldn't be a Steamhounds tournament without finding a bug somewhere. So, very lucky that it happened at the very end of the fight. So, anyway, this was a really cool tournament. Everybody did really well. Yeah. So, anyway. We have our tournaments, just as like a recap, we have our tournaments every 2 weeks because they happen after our patches. So if you were watching today and you didn't participate, don't worry. Like there's tons of more tournaments that will happen very soon. Plenty of new features and patches and stuff like that. Our next patch will have a new character. So look forward to that. We will be probably like breadcrumbing out some more information about them leading up to that patch release. So definitely that Wednesday, which will be the 24th. The 24th, the new patch will drop with the new character. So that is definitely an awesome time to hop on in to our multiplayer scene, get some matches in. In the client, you can definitely play against the AI as well if you don't feel like playing against like a human player or anything like that. And so you can test out new strats, especially with that new character, and see how things work and see how different character combinations can be used with them, because we're really looking to see how this character shakes up how people normally choose character loadouts and stuff. So definitely look forward to that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll chill here for another few minutes. And yeah, another successful tournament. I am just checking the Discord right now, and I see any info to tease on the new character. Yeah, I just saw. Let's see. I don't want to give everything away. But But let's say that there are 2 characters right now that have been overwhelmingly been picked. Over some of, not overwhelmingly, but a couple of characters have a very high pick rate. So I will say, what's a good hint here? What the new character has a role similar to one of those characters that is picked very frequently. So that's all I'll say about that. So just think about what current holes we have in the current character ecosystem and be like, oh, hey, I wish there were another one of these. I might be interested in having one of these, and be like, oh, okay. Maybe that's a new character. So I'll be giving out more hints later on, but that's all I've got for now. I guess another hint, if y'all don't want to scroll up too much in the in one of these servers here, or one of these channels on the server, but the 2 characters that have a very high pick rate right now are the warrior and the ranger. So I will say the new character has a very similar role to one of those 2. Just have to find out in 2 weeks. So, or like more like a week and a half at this point, right? Yeah, so 1 week, week and a half. Yeah, so not too long. Alright, it looks like we are just about wrapping up right now. Just checking out the Discord. Very active today. Always happens when you have a tournament. Anyway. So, it was awesome seeing you guys here today. Thanks for hanging out. Looking forward to next time. Yeah, and I'll see you guys all later. There will be plenty more tournaments to come. Just as a reminder, Malieve does have another tournament as well scheduled. So that will be actually after our next tournament as well. So if you want to double up on tournaments, feel free to do that. Seriously. I believe that Malieve has some interesting rules for that tournament that could definitely shake some stuff out. So I'm sure, Malieve, I don't know if you have permission to post links there, but you do. Good, excellent. So Malieve's link is in there. If you want to check out that Battlefy page and sign up for that tournament, just check out them rules. And yeah, so exciting stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, all right, guys. I had a lot of fun today, and I'll see you all next time. So